Hello, my name's Sheena McGuinness and I'm a corporate tax partner at RSM, leading our specialist renewables and cleantech team in the UK. Welcome to Renewables Unwrapped, our series of short videos where we unwrap tax, accounting and consulting issues for the renewables industry. Today, we're taking a closer look at business property relief and how renewables businesses can benefit from this tax relief. I'm joined by my colleague, Eugenia Campbell, Tax Director and Business Property Relief Specialist here at RSM. Eugenia, thanks so much for joining me. Please can we start with you giving a brief introduction about yourself?
Thank you for having me, Sheena. My name's Eugenia Campbell. I'm a private client tax director in RSM, and I help high net worth, ultra high net worth individuals and business owners with their inheritance tax and succession planning. I've been doing that for 9 years, so really happy to share my insights with you today.
Brilliant, and we are delighted to hear your insights. Probably best to start with what is business property relief and why is it important to people in the renewables industry?
Well, with inheritance tax at 40% and no change in the autumn statement, as we'd hoped, business relief is really valuable because where it applies, it can exempt the asset from inheritance tax or provide 50% relief from it, depending on what you invest in. So for the renewable sector, those who invest in companies who are in that industry, it's actually quite valuable. It's one way to attract investors, and in addition, those investors are making a difference to the environment as well as protecting their wealth for the next generation. So a win-win.
Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds great. And obviously, renewables developers are always looking for ways to make their business more attractive to investors to raise capital. So it really is worth thinking about.
Absolutely.
One thing that gave me pause for thought is businesses preparing to trade. We see that a lot within the renewables sector because there is often a bit of a hiatus between that setting up the initial business plan, beginning to get the assets ready, and then the grid connection, and so the actual income generation. Now, I know we heard in the autumn statement that the government are looking at introducing measures to expedite grid connection, so hopefully the direction of travel is good on that front. But with that being said, is there anything with respect to BPR and the preparing to trade status of a lot of these renewables companies?
No, it's, the legislation says as long as the business is operating with a view to making a gain, a profit, then that's absolutely fine. And, you would hope that by the time the investor dies, which is when you test for the relief generally, that by that time it's turned around and it's making a profit anyway. But even if it isn't, we know that with new startups and we know the struggles with the industry, HMRC should accept that actually it's meeting these qualifying conditions and business property relief should apply.
Okay, phew. Sounds great. So far, so good. Now, are there any pitfalls that renewables businesses need to be aware of?
Well, I wouldn't say there are pitfalls as such, but as I mentioned before, there are qualifying conditions, and it's just about the sector making sure, the business and sector making sure that they are meeting those qualifying conditions, and it's a continuous test. So at the time when the person makes what we'd call like a transfer that might be exposed to inheritance tax, does business relief apply? And we can support, the companies, etc., in the renewable sector to make sure that they continue to meet those qualifying conditions and investors are reassured that they will get the business relief that's part of the attraction of investing in the industry.
Got it. Okay, so it's not at a particular point in time, tick, yes, you meet the qualifying conditions. It's a moving feast, and you have to make sure you continue to meet those conditions, and you're not doing anything to upset that.
Absolutely, and it's worth taking those reviews on a regular basis. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So thinking about our client base, we do advise a fairly broad church of clients within the renewables sector. So we have some that are solely UK, some that are UK inbounds, some are UK outbounds. So thinking about our UK outbounds, does having overseas assets impact the availability of BPR?
Not at all. It's really good actually because unlike agricultural property relief, property relief doesn't have a geographical restriction. So it doesn't really matter where the asset is, as long as it's meeting the qualifying conditions, relief should apply. And actually, for your outbound investors, those who are non-UK domiciled, there's double protection there because if they're not investing in the UK assets, the UK company, for example, then they're not exposed to UK inheritance tax. So again, not an issue at all with having those non-UK entities.
Got it. Okay. So, do you have any final thoughts or key takeaways for our renewables and clean tech clients?
Final thoughts. Well, as I mentioned before, autumn statement, nothing on inheritance tax. So it's really important that those who are looking at their estate actually consider investing in assets that will give them that relief, the renewable sector being one of them. So, now's a time to actually lock in that relief because if we have a change in government, there's been rumours about this relief being abolished, for example. So you'd have inheritance tax at 40%, no valuable relief, which is really critical for businesses. So actually act now, make the most of the relief, and we can support you in looking to whether your business qualifies or the investor can claim the relief.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Eugenia. That's been a really helpful overview. At RSM, we have many years of specialist experience working with renewables and clean tech businesses. Please do get in touch with me or visit our website for further information.